Welcome to another edition of the Davidson Wildcats Football Coaching Show with Coach Paul Nichols. I'm Mark Plemmons. And Coach, busy winter. The players have been working really hard, got some competition going on. Kind of tell us how those winter activities went.
Yeah, certainly really excited about coming out of winter. We went with a 7-week competition, and huge credit to Greg Honeychuck and the strength and conditioning staff, as well as our players. Over half of the winter, the coaching staff is really out on the road recruiting, and so it really becomes a player-owned program and player-driven program, and certainly every team is different, but the leadership that this senior group has demonstrated over the course of the last 7 weeks has been really impressive. And everything we do is competitive, and that's in the weight room, that's on the field in winter conditioning, and that's in the community. And so at the end of last week, we concluded the week with a team strongman competition, as well as 3 days of testing, where we tested in the bench and the squat and the deadlift, and we really had a great opportunity to see our guys improve over a 7-week period. And this coming Sunday, we'll have our champions dinner, where we recognize the winning team, and just really can't say enough about what we think is great leadership, as well as where we think our team has come in terms of their body weight, their strength, their speed, and most importantly, their conditioning heading into spring practice.
Coach, and they accumulate points, all these things, and got some winners.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single thing we do is registered with a point value, either positive or negative, and so we'll recognize those winners on Sunday. And we've got a couple of MVPs as well as a team winner, and we really think that those guys that won the awards and the winning team demonstrated the best and most improvement, and we look forward to what that looks like moving forward into spring practice.
And Coach, now you come into spring, you still got competition going on, but you got a lot of learning going on too.
Well, you're right, Mark, and we've got a number of new coaches that are going to join us, and so it's not only learning from the coaching staff, but it's also obviously from our young players. And so we come into spring practice with the largest roster we've had since I've been here as the head coach, which is exciting, but it's also a young roster too, and in particular areas that we really need to develop. And so that combination of bringing the coaching staff along and that development, as well as with the young players in key areas, is going to be a critical area for us to focus on over a 4-week period.
Coach, now you have particular goals, I'm sure, during the spring.
Yeah, I think obviously let's start offensively, Mark, because the growth and development along our offensive line is an area where we lost a couple of key contributors in Travis Stubblefield and Eric Haas and Chase Davis, guys that have kind of been here and played for a long time. So our ability to bring the young guys along and find out who can really grow and develop, really pleased with their progress in the winter. And now we need to see it transition on the field. And obviously, at the quarterback position, we've got to find and really solidify who that guy is and bring all three of our quarterbacks along. They've got to be able to throw better, they've got to be able to make better decisions, and they also need to be able to really lead our offense. And finally, the area that we're most excited about, Mark, on offense is the growth and development of our wide receiver core, because we feel like we've got some athletic guys out there. We've obviously got Jarrah Scott back. We've got Cam Chevront back, who are two guys that are really proven and veteran guys. But we've got a whole host of younger guys, Connor Ritchie and Isaiah Anthony and Will Wicks, that we really feel like can come along. And we've got to find a way to really involve them in our offense and get them really confident and fundamentally sound.
Coach, I know last year we saw flashes with some really big plays.
Well, it's interesting because credit to Tim Chartier, our mathematics professor, who is world famous for his cat stats, and also one of his soldiers, Jacob DeRuzio, who's a freshman on campus. They did some research for us and realized that every time our offense makes an explosive gain, meaning a plus 12-yard run or a plus 18-yard pass, we average 3.2 points more per drive when we make those explosives. And so our ability to create offensive schemes that can allow us to make explosives, as well as when I have the ball in my hand, can I make a guy miss? Can I break a tackle? what are the things that I can do to really create the explosives? If we can do that and understand how important that is, then that's really going to go a long way to what's going on.
Coach, of course, in spring you've got defense and special teams, a lot of work.
Well, special teams is an area that really pleased with the improvement last year by our 4 core units. That's the kickoff coverage and return. That's the punt and punt return. We finished in punt return in the top 25 in the country and the top 3 in the league. And our punt, I went back and did some research. We had the highest net punt at Davidson College in the last 16 years. And obviously we lose our punter in John Cook, but we've got our snapper back and we've got our coverage guys back. And a really key area of emphasis is who's going to be our punter. And we've got 2 or 3 guys we feel like can do that, and Seth Stansel and Charlie Morris and Michael Matthews. And so we've got to find out who that guy is. The other thing we've got to make sure is, last year we were 6 for 12 on field goals. And Trevor Smith is a guy who's made big kicks for us in the past. And we've really got to hone in on that execution from our field goal unit. So that's critical. Really pleased with the progress. And now we've got to take it to the next level where we're in the top 3 categories in all areas in the conference. And defensively, we've got some veterans back, Mark, you're right. But our ability to consistently execute is the most important thing. In addition to the offensive stats that I gave you, defensively, Dr. Chartier and Jacob DeRuzio, they brought me a stat that if we give up an explosive game on defense, that average point per drive goes up 5.2 points. And so we've got to make sure defensively what that means is we got to do our job and be where we're supposed to be. But when we're at the point of attack, we got to make an open field tackle. If we got a chance to sack a guy, we got to make got to make a sack. And most importantly, we need to be able to consistently execute. And the last part of that, Mark, is this: is if that explosive game doesn't create a touchdown, it's got to be a snap and clear mentality. We can't come back the next play and say, oh, geez, we just gave up a long gain. We got to keep playing, and we've got to make sure that every play has a history and a life of its own. And if we do that, we execute better and tackle better, then I think our defense is really headed in the right direction with some really talented guys.
Next play is always the most important.
Well, you're exactly right, Mark. You hear Coach Saban at Alabama talk so much about the process and just dealing with every single play, having a history and a life of its own. But it's never been more important than this year and this spring for our football program, because you deal with so many highs and lows, and when you have some young guys in your program and some young guys that are playing, what ends up happening is that they dwell on something that happened in the past and let it affect the next play. And so our snap and clear mentality has got to be really critical. And also, Mark, our senior leadership. We've got 19 seniors this year, and that's as large a group of seniors as we've ever had in the last 4 years. And these guys are really dead set on making sure that we move this program in the right direction, and they're dead set on doing that right now.
And Coach, the next step's the spring ball.
Spring ball, right around the corner. We conclude spring break, and we have our Champions Dinner on Sunday night as sort of a kickoff to spring practice, as well as a look back and recognition of our winter workouts. And then we go 4 practices per week over the course of 4 weeks and end up on April 8th with our spring game. And we've got a lot of big things going on surrounding that, but most importantly, between now and then, we've got to really take advantage of every single practice opportunity, every meeting we get, every chance we have to watch video to improve our program every single day.
Spring ball coming up, Coach. We got a lot to look forward to. Lots of special things coming up on DavidsonWildcats.com. Be sure and check by often on the football page. And again, this has been the Davidson Wildcats Football Coaches Show with Coach Paul Nichols. I'm Mark Plemmons. Thanks for joining us.